Hi, my name is Linzy, and I am currently a second-year RA on the Sadler staff. Prompt 1. What have you learned about yourself in this position? What skills have you gained this year? Where are areas you have identified that you need to develop? And how will you go about developing these skills in your third year in the RA position? As a second-year RA in a first-year living center, one of the biggest adjustments was being 2 years older than my residents rather than just one. I had a harder time relating to them off the bat since I was no longer an underclassman myself. Being even more empathetic than I've been in the past is definitely the growth I experienced as a result. I learned about being flexible in life and in my role as an RA, which in turn taught me a lot about my adaptable leadership style. In terms of areas I'd like to work on, continuing to balance my education, my RA role, and my extracurricular involvement going into my senior year is definitely a consideration I'm giving lots of advanced thought to. I thrive when I have a full schedule, but it takes effort and planning. Going forward, I plan to take time to reflect on how I'm filling the RA role, as well as all my other roles, and how they intersect with and impact one another on a regular basis. In addition, as I will be abroad during the spring 2020 semester, I plan to preemptively assess how I'll readjust to being an RA and be extremely engaged in training to make sure I'm as prepared as possible. As per usual, I intend to be the best possible RA I can be throughout the entirety of the year. Prompt 2. Why are you hoping to return to the RA position next year? I hope to return to the RA position because it has enriched my college experience more than anything else, and likewise gives me the platform to directly and positively impact the experiences of other SU students. As a second-year RA, I was able to see more than ever the lasting effect I made on residents' lives. Seeing my students from last year now leading in clubs and organizations I recommended, or loving their academic careers after confiding in me about deciding their path, or just seeing past residents living together in other communities after becoming friends because of the environment created on my floor, has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. For my current residents, I applied the same practices as last year and improved upon them. So despite being abroad this coming semester, I'm confident the impact will be the same, if not greater. In addition, the RA role has introduced me to some of the most amazing people that I've ever met and brought me friends that I wouldn't otherwise have. In addition, it's given me so much personal growth, and I'm incredibly grateful to have experienced it. Being an RA has been a critical component of my college career, and I would love to finish my studies here in the position I know and love. Prompt 3. In light of recent events on campus, creating an inclusive environment is a continued priority for the Office of Student Living. How do you see your role as an RA contributing in creating an inclusive environment for all students? What specific strategies do you have for creating this inclusive environment? And what specific trainings would you like to see in order to enhance your own intercultural competence? This past semester, I was very involved in the Not Again SU movement. Through my activity there, I learned a lot about allyship, inclusivity, and so many other diversity-driven topics from the teach-ins and collaboration with other student leaders. As an RA, I have an incredible platform to create the first learning space new students have on this campus. I think inclusion should begin from day one with an icebreaker centered on identity, so all residents can begin to share their stories with their floor mates as much as they feel comfortable and learn about one another. In addition, through CCIs, I have the opportunity to further educate residents about what it means to be part of the floor community, the SU community, and the global community with the identities they hold. I would also give residents the opportunity to present about topics they are passionate about and would like others to know about as well. In terms of training, I think the most important component of diversity that has been lacking in OSL is intersectionality. There are countless attributes that make us different, but we tend to only focus on the ones we can see or the ones that are commonly discussed in the media. Discussing not only race and gender discrimination, but also ableism, classism, fat phobia, LGBTQ+ discrimination, mental health, and a plethora of other topics, as well as how they interact with and compound upon one another, will give a more holistic approach to the typical trainings we do. In addition, we should have more in-depth training regarding how to assist international students in their transition to SU. This would help RAs to unify the community from the beginning and ensure everyone is equitably accommodated for. Prompt 4. After experiencing the residential community connections, what did you find to be most beneficial to your role as an RA? What was a challenge that you faced, and how can you work through these challenges in your next year as an RA? This past semester, it was definitely a challenge to complete the 30-minute conversations with all of my residents. In the future, I intend to develop a more systematic way of scheduling these to help with finishing them on time and not being overwhelmed in doing so. For example, this past year, I tended to accommodate resident schedules before my own by asking them their availability during roommate agreements and scheduling mine around that. Instead, having a spreadsheet where all my available time is posted and residents can sign up for slots would be more efficient and ensure that my time is respected as well. If no slots work for certain residents, I would manage that on a case-by-case basis. In terms of what was most beneficial for me this past semester, that would be CCIs. CCIs facilitated building a community on my floor with everyone, but also gave a space for personal connections to be made. Looking forward, I hope to do more CCIs than the required amount to ensure that all residents have a chance to attend at least one, as well as place more of a focus during these CCIs on intercultural competence. Prompt 5. In thinking of this role as a professional development opportunity, what are a few goals that you have for yourself in your next year in the RA position? In terms of professional development, I hope to improve my networking skills by trying to establish connections with not only my own staff, but staffs across campus. This includes fellow RAs, senior staff, and OSL leadership members. In addition, as I will be a senior this coming year, I hope to continue to refine my transferable skills, such as time management, interpersonal skills, intercultural competence, administrative skills, and leadership. These categories, as well as many more, have been incredibly useful for me in my personal, academic, and professional life, and they're skills that you can never stop developing. Also, as I'll have at least one boss or supervisor during the post-grad era of my life, continuing to practice managing up and working with my supervisory staff will be critical in the next year. Otherwise, I hope to simply be the best team member I can possibly be for my coworkers, my residents, and myself. Prompt 6. In what ways would you serve as a mentor to other members of your team and provide support to your supervisors? Another component of being a second-year RA that I hadn't experienced in the year prior was being a mentor to younger or newer staff members. The best way I learned to practice mentorship was to offer support to my staff preemptively, without them needing to ask. I knew from experience that being new to the position is intimidating and it can be hard to ask questions, so giving my best advice during the early training to help ease any potential anxieties of new staff members seemed to be effective. Of course, this was coupled with a friendly and approachable attitude, so if questions did come up, anyone on staff knew they could come to me. Another great part about being a more experienced member on staff was the opportunity to learn new perspectives from new staff. No matter how long you're an RA for, there's always more to learn, and who better to learn from than a fresh set of eyes. This was one of my favorite changes of the job from year 1 to year 2, and I look forward to hopefully continuing this mentor relationship. In terms of supporting my senior staff, I hope to be an RA they can look to and count on to be a leader on the staff. Their roles are demanding, and there are plenty of ways in which delegating tasks to experienced RAs such as myself can help lessen their load. For example, my direct supervisor last semester, Josh Stone, would always end our one-on-ones by asking if there was anything else I needed from him. This coming year, I plan to make it more of a habit to ask the same in return. In addition, supporting my staff members and being a resource for fellow RAs in the ways I just described indirectly assists senior staff as well. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I hope you all have an amazing spring 2020 semester.